everybody. Good evening once again. You're welcome to today's webinar on the Protect Mom and Child Forum. For the last webinar we had last week, we had Nurse Opeyemi on board. She spoke a detailed explanation on family planning last week, and we got quite a number of feedback, especially from new mothers. And today, we are having Nurse Opeyemi again on board to give us some insightful information, address several myths and misconceptions about family, about CS session. It's been a lot of issues that has been contributing to maternal mortality in Nigeria, and today we are having Nurse Opeyemi again come to speak to us, providing evidence-based information on Caesarian session, addressing myths and misconceptions, particularly in a country like Nigeria, where we have high mortality rate, where we have religion, culture, ASAs playing a lot of role in how women and even men, accept and want to protect and save a mother and a child. Please welcome with me today Nurse Opeyemi Lawal, the founder of Look Kauthar Care. She's an amazing pregnancy coach. She's a detailed, nurse and midwife. She practices currently in Nigeria, and she'll be taking us through all of the details on Caesarian session, what Caesarian session is, addressing myths and misconceptions about this.
Can you hear me? Hi, Yetunde, are you there? I can hear you. Hello, Yetunde, are you there? Can you hear me? I can't hear you any.
Hi, Nurse Opeyemi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I've heard you before.
Awesome.
Like,
okay, so introduce Nurse Opeyemi Lawal. She's a nurse. She's the founder of Look Kauthar Care. She will be providing us with detailed information using evidence-based data on Caesarian session, addressing myths and misconceptions about this particular surgery that has a lot and a high potential to save the lives of many mothers and newborn in Nigeria. Again, Nurse Opeyemi, you're welcome to the last webinar for the month of April, where we'll be discussing Caesarian session and the role in reducing maternal and newborn mortality across the globe, and probably will be taking particular emphasis to Nigeria as one of the developing countries, and also will be addressing the myths and misconceptions concerning this surgery. Welcome, Nurse Opeyemi, to the webinar today.
Thank you, Yetunde. At least I'm glad to be here once again. We had the session last month, and it was amazing. I got a lot of feedback. You as well, you got a lot of feedback from your end. I'm like, what? We need to keep doing this so that our women are informed, our men are informed, and everybody is getting informed, and we can reduce maternal mortality. So I'm glad to be here once again, Yetunde.
You are welcome, Nurse Opey. Thank you so much. So we'll start now and take a very deep dive into this conversation today. And I know there's going to be an impactful session, and we'll be able to also stream this and also record this session so that mothers, old mothers, and even new mothers, fathers particularly, and even the community as a whole will listen to it and help us continue to protect and make sure that no mother and no newborn die from preventable causes in Nigeria again. Thank you again, Nurse Opeyemi, for coming to the webinar today. For the first question I will ask you today, Nurse Opeyemi, is that what exactly is Caesarian section?
Caesarian section is a way of delivery, is a method of delivery, right? Most people do not know it's a method of delivery. In Nigeria, mostly in the rural area, people only think the common, or let me say, the most used form of method of delivery is through vaginal delivery. The research has happen. A lot has been going on. People have been seeing reasons why women don't have to die because they want to be like the Hebrew women. They want to deliver vaginally, and they die just because they don't want to accept cesarean section. So cesarean section, I would say, is a method of delivery by which a woman is cut open through her lower abdomen, through of course, under the effect of anesthesia. Anesthesia is what we use to block the pain of the woman, so that the woman doesn't feel the pain while they are cutting her, in the process of cutting her. Just like we, anytime razor blade cut our hands or scissors cut our hand, we could feel the pain. Now imagine a woman that they are going to open her up to bring out a baby, to suture it back. It's a lot of pain, right? So the woman will go under anesthesia, what we know as anesthesia, to block the pain so that she could have a baby. So cesarean section is the method of delivery by which a woman is cut open under the effect of anesthesia in order to bring her baby to life, or in order to deliver the baby. So basically, that's the cesarean section. And I would like to impute it could be a spinal anesthesia or a general anesthesia. But these days again, nobody does a general anesthesia, right? They do a spinal anesthesia, they just block the spinal cord, the area where they are going to be cutting. Like, I mean, the area of the spine that has effect on the part they are going to be cutting, under the stomach they are going to be cutting. Right? Once they block that, the woman is awake. In fact, most times we gist with these women, how are you? Don't worry, they're almost done. The baby is coming out now. And once the baby is out, we are going to give the baby to her. Okay, look at your baby. What do you have? They will answer you, baby boy, baby girl. Gone are the days that women are sleeping while they are bringing out their baby. These days, they just give them a regional anesthesia and boom, they bring out the baby. Mother is fine, baby is fine. So that's a more like an introduction of cesarean section.
Thank you so much, Nosope. This explanation is really detailed. Also, you going into differentiating the fact that there is a spinal anesthesia and then the general anesthesia, in which the woman is already even aware of how the process is going when she's being, performed the surgery home. Thank you so much, Nosope. The next question I will be quickly asking you now is that what are the factors that could make an healthcare provider, probably a doctor, to say, madam or daddy, we need to take your wife need to go under the Caesarian session. What could be factors that could predispose a woman to undergo a CS session?
Well, let me start with this. I do tell women, whenever they ask you to go in for cesarean section, don't take it as the doctor hates you, or the doctor wants to receive money, or the doctor does not want you to deliver like an Hebrew woman, or the doctor doesn't want you to deliver like other women are delivering. There is always a reason. There is always a cause. There is no medical practitioner that will tell you, okay, we just want you to go for a cesarean section if there is no particular reason. So there are so many factors, there are so many reasons why they will tell a woman for cesarean section. And I will mention, some key points. One is macrosomic baby. There are some women that during pregnancy, they eat a lot, or they are prone to having big babies. They have big babies already, and the baby is weighing 5 kg, 4.8 kg. There is no way they are going to tell you to push out that baby. Because number one, if you are going to push out that baby, a lot will go on. Number one, the woman might not be roomy enough to bring out that baby as big as 5 kg or as big as 4.8 kg. And even in the process of delivering, she might undergo a tear. If she's not given episiotomy, she might undergo a tear. The head of the baby, this is a natural process. As the baby head is coming down, nothing wants to stop it. It doesn't stop. It just wants to pass through and go out. It's a natural process, right? So as the head of the baby is coming, and maybe episiotomy is not given or anything, the woman can have laceration. And we don't want that to happen, because it could cause bleeding at the end of the day, or we are getting to suture this woman over and over again, and that will cause aftermath pain. So macrosomic babies, women who have macrosomic babies, who have big babies, macrosomic baby is a big baby, layman language. Usually advise them, oh madam, the baby is 5 kg, the baby is 5.4, your baby is 4.8 kg. Oh, we advise you to better go for cesarean section, because you might not be able to push out this baby. Right? So that's one of the reasons why the a woman might want to undergo a cesarean section. Another one is we call something cephalopelvic disproportion. Cephalopelvic disproportion. That means, in a layman language, it means the pelvic of the woman is not allowing the head of the baby to come out. It might be that she has a small pelvis. It might be that she has a contracted pelvis, right? And it might be that the head of the baby is not adequate for the pelvis. So when the head of the baby is not adequate for the pelvis, or the pelvis is not adequate for the head of the baby to maneuver through, we say a woman is having cephalopelvic disproportion. So in that case, there is no two-way. There is nothing we can do about it, because the head will just be stuck. It's just like you have a hole like this, and you want something as huge as this to pass through. Would it pass through? It won't pass through. So the head will just be stuck. And once the head is stuck, it becomes a problem, because we don't want a baby to suck meconium. We don't want a baby to stay in for a longer period of time. And as you monitor the baby can go into distress, the woman can be tired, a lot of things can start happening. So in such cases, when a woman is having cephalopelvic disproportion, we advise her, madam, this is the situation at hand. We need you to go for a cesarean section instead of a vaginal delivery. Right. So another reason why we would, I hope you are noting the point here today. Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm
Another
following you, Detail.
Great. So another reason why we would tell a woman to go for cesarean section is when there is a fetal distress. There are some women, when women we are funny, there are some women that they want to follow what their friends are telling them. Oh, they have been at home for a longer period of time because their friend told them, oh, I went to the hospital, and immediately I got to the hospital, I just delivered. I didn't even stay there long. So some women will stay at home, not instead of going to the hospital to monitor them and monitor their baby, monitor themselves. They won't do that. They want to copy their friends, or they want to listen to their family or whoever. They stay at home, and the baby, maybe one or two things is happening with the baby. You are the one carrying the baby, but you are not an healthcare professional. You are not a midwife. You are not a doctor. You are not a nurse who will check your baby and who will tell you that there is a problem going on. Okay, probably the fetal heart rate is not doing well. Fetal heart rate is between 140 to 160. Okay, the fetal heart rate is going above 160. Let's say the fetal heart rate of the woman is going to 180, 190. It becomes a problem. That means the baby is in distress, right? Or the fetal heart rate is dropping drastically, going to 100, 80, 70. That means there's a problem going on. So when there's a fetal distress, when a fetal distress is identified and recognized, immediately we tell the woman to go in for. In fact, it's not a planned CS anymore. We tell the woman to go in for an emergency CS immediately. So in that case of fetal distress, we rush the woman in for an urgent or an emergency cesarean section. So there are so many reasons why a woman might want to, why they would tell you to go for cesarean section. And some women, let me tell you, in fact, they don't have any reason. They are fine. Their baby is fine, but they just tell you, oh, I want my baby to have the same birthday with me. I want my baby to have the same birthday with my husband. I want my baby to have the same birthday with my previous kids. Right? Some women want it like that, and they will go in voluntarily. So that one is an elective cesarean section. Nobody will tell them anything. All they have to do is they sign a consent form and they go in for cesarean section. And before you know, their baby is out, they're out. And some women, they'll just tell you, I don't want to go through the stress of labor, please. They told me labor is painful. I don't want to go through it. Just take me in for cesarean section. Right? So those are some of the reasons why a woman will be told to go for a cesarean section. So there are so many other reasons. Maybe the health of the mother is at stake. Maybe she's having preeclampsia, or she's already having eclampsia. That one too is a very important point I must not miss out. In pregnancy, some women, their blood pressure might begin to shoot up. We call it pre-eclampsia. Maybe they're having blood pressure of 180, blood pressure of 190, blood pressure of 170, blood pressure of 200, right? So such women, they're having preeclampsia. And in worst case scenario, you see some of them, they become, they have what we call, they begin to fit, more like, what would I call, a convulsion, right? Have you ever seen a child who is convulsing? Just that same way. So women begin to convulse. When it gets to that point, we do not have a choice. We don't negotiate. Just take the woman in for an urgent cesarean section, an emergency cesarean section. Because if you do not take in that woman at that period in time, she might lose her baby. And at the end of the day, we might lose her as well. So we don't want that to happen. We want to reduce maternal mortality and mortality. And that is why when it comes to this case, we advise women, oh, these are the signs we are saying. These are the things we are saying. Oh, madam, it's better you go in for cesarean section so that your baby will be fine, will be fine. But at the end of the day, everybody is smiling. The healthcare provider is smiling, the family is smiling, everybody is smiling, right? So that's it basically.
Wow, Nasope, you just took me so wrapped up in all of your explanations. This your explanation will just quickly take me to the very next conversation I'm going to have with you now. Okay, there is a question that I shared with you before we started this webinar about a woman. She's a first-time mom, and she's currently at 37 weeks. I'll quickly summarize what she wrote. I developed pregnancy-induced hypertension around 26 weeks, and I've been using medications given to me. The issue now is that the blood pressure is still on the high side. The last time I checked, it was 151/83, which is actually lower than the previous one. The nurses say it's still high, and when I fall into labor, there is a tendency for it to go way higher. And she said that the nurses say if she would she has also given a negative proteinuria, so they recommend her to go for an elective CS, but the doctor says she should continue with the medication and hope that the BP drops before she falls into labor. She says she doesn't have any problems with CS. She just wants to know the risk and every other thing that a CS entails and what the vaginal delivery entails. She even mentioned that my husband is very supportive of anyone. Left to him, the CS sounds even good as long as she and their baby is fine. So what she wants to know now is that she just wants to know the risk associated with vaginal delivery and those associated with CS delivery.
Okay, yeah. Before I go into details with answering your question here today, I want to share more like a live experience with you. This webinar was supposed to hold earlier than this, but I was called in for an emergency cesarean section. They brought in a woman. Okay, yeah, she was not in distress, but her baby was already in distress, right? They could see that there's a little bit of changes. And also, when the scan was done, they discovered that the baby is 4.8 kg. That's going to like 5 kg, right? And this woman we are talking about, she's a small stature woman. Now, in a small stature woman, there's a risk of small pelvis. Now, there are two things involved. The baby is already big, 4.8 kg. And again, they are suspecting fetal distress because of fetal heart rate readings. Now, in such a condition, there is no need to negotiate. Just told the woman what is happening and told the husband, and he said, oh, why not? Now, the reason why we needed to do it urgently and emergency is because the baby was already going into distress, right? So this one is non-negotiable. So that was why I delayed. In fact, it was so funny to me that because I was supposed to have this webinar earlier and I was called for an emergency CR. I'm like, oh, is God trying to tell me something that I should chip in this with my women so that they'll be able to relate more and understand better, right? So the emergency CS came in, we explained to the couple, and they're like, what is paramount to them? The husband was like, what is paramount to me is the health of my wife and that of my baby. I don't want anything to happen to both of them. I want both of them to be alive. I want both of them to be well. I would say, oh, okay, the next thing we need to do, we need to take in your wife for an emergency cesarean section. And that was how we did it. The baby is fine. In fact, if I could turn the camera, even that I can't show the face of the baby to the world because I'm not taking permission from the parents. So it's not right for me to show the face of the baby. So the baby is fine now. The mother is fine as well. So just imagine the husband was not supportive, or the woman herself, she just feels like, oh, I want to deliver like an Hebrew woman. Let me go home. By the time I go home and I pray to God in heaven, my baby will survive. Believe you me, anything can happen, right? So answering this case of the woman who she's 37 weeks now, in fact, she can go in for a cesarean section now. because we don't want our blood pressure to keep shooting up. Right now, she's closer to being term. A baby is term, literally, a baby is term from 37 weeks. Right? Since she's up to 37 weeks now, she can walk in for an elective cesarean section, and they bring out the baby. She'll be fine. The baby will be fine. Rather stressing herself, the BP keeps shooting up, the baby keep having issues inside, and she's not comfortable as well. So at 37 weeks, she can decide to wait one more week for the baby to be 8 weeks, 38 weeks rather, fine. But if she doesn't decide, or is getting out of hand, her BP keeps shooting every now and then, believe you me, 37 weeks is okay for her to go in for a cesarean section. So coming back to her question, that she wants to know the basic difference between a cesarean section and vaginal delivery. Now, in her case as it is now, I would advise her to go in for a cesarean section unless her BP is dropped down to like 120, which I'm not saying it's possible. It's not so feasible that her BP will just drop down to 120 or 130. Her BP is already at 150, and she said it was better than before. That means before it was more than 150, probably 160 or 170. I don't know. I don't know the actual figure. But it's better and safe for her now. In fact, it shouldn't be negotiable. She should just go in for a cesarean section before she's at the stage of eclampsia, or they start seeing protein in her urine and she's at the stage of preeclampsia, right? But coming to the basic difference between a vaginal delivery and a cesarean section, and everything that has advantage has disadvantage, right? So with cesarean section, there is pain. With cesarean section, there is pain after, right? Because they will numb the pain for you. Once they numb the pain for you, you won't feel anything. They will bring out your baby. But after like 2 days, 3 days, you start feeling the pain because the anesthesia they use, they are wearing off. You start feeling the pain. But for vaginal delivery, you are going to feel the pain when labor is going on. Do you get it? So it's like choosing your pain, right? The pain will still be there, but it's either you choose your pain before or you choose your pain after. That is if you have the time to choose. But if you do not have the time to choose, it's better you just go in for cesarean section, maybe due to one thing or the other, and you feel your pain later. They will give you pain relief later that you will always be fine for it. So the basic difference between cesarean section and vaginal delivery, they are not too much. One, they are both method of delivery. Both of them have pain. Pain before is what's it called, vaginal delivery. The pain after is cesarean section. Then for the vaginal delivery, it could happen that you'll be giving episiotomy. Let's say if your baby is big or the baby is not coming out very well, they will give you an episiotomy, and at the end of the day, they will suture you, right? But in cesarean section, nobody is cutting you. You get it? I don't want to say it. Nobody is cutting you. It's intact because nobody is cutting you up. Nobody is going to suture you at your V area. I don't want to call it, but at your V area, nobody is going to suture you, right? Although there will be some changes, because as you are pregnant, the same changes that is going on in a woman that will have a cesarean section is the same changes that is going on in a woman that will have SVD, right? There won't be different changes. It's just the method of delivery that differs. So they won't cut you during what's it called? During a cesarean section. They won't cut the down part, but they will cut your stomach. You get it? They will cut the stomach during cesarean section. Why in vaginal delivery they are not cutting your stomach? But your V area, where the penetration is going, nobody is nobody is going there, right? Because you are undergoing a CS, and nobody is going to suture there. So that when next organ wants to come in, you won't tell him, I'm still feeling pain down there. You can go in, I will suture and all of this. So I think so that's just like there's nothing that has advantage that doesn't have disadvantage. Just the way vaginal delivery is a method that is good, it also has its own disadvantage, right? It could be a precipitated labor and the baby comes out with force. When the baby comes out, the woman could have a tear, the woman could have lacerations, and they'll be suturing her here and there, here and there. She'll have to be undergoing a cis bath, she'll have to be doing this, to be doing that. So just the way vaginal delivery has its own disadvantage and advantage, that's the same way cesarean section has its own advantage and disadvantage. So for that woman in the case, I would just advise her, since that blood pressure keeps shooting up, I'll just advise her to go in for a cesarean section. Let's not take chances, right? We don't want to take chances. We want the mother alive and we want the baby alive as well. So please tell her that.
Nosope, you have been so
Yeah.
detailed that I just want us to keep talking about this, but the time is not going to allow us. Right now, I just want us to go very quickly into so many myths and misconceptions, particularly in the developing part of the world. Example, our country, Nigeria. Few weeks, I think 2 weeks ago, there have been a lot of controversy on Twitter space and even on Instagram handle, where there have been a lot
Exactly.
of conversation on Caesarian Session. There have been
Yeah.
some even pronunciations and tweets that had said that women that deliver via the CS session are not real women. That is number one. There was even a particular tweet that said, "What is so painful about Caesarian section? You do not feel any labor pain. That a person, a woman who comes via the who delivers via the
I'm
Caesarian
like,
section does not feel pain at all. So it's like she is not a real woman." I want us to address that as a very first focal point. Number two, we have also had certain myths and misconception about CS where they have said it's much easier than the vaginal birth. We want to also address that also. That is number two. Number three that we'll also be addressing today is that they said women that deliver via the cesarean section do not are not always able to breastfeed their infant. I'm not even sure where that myth came into limelight into our society, but it's one of the myths that I've been hearing from people over the years about Caesarian section. So all of these three myths that I've discussed about and some other ones that you've heard about in your course of working as a pregnancy coach, in your course of working as a nurse and as a midwife in an established facility, I want us to address all of those myths and misconceptions that have been taken and depriving a lot of women and have been cutting short the lives of many women and newborn in Nigeria. Thank you. Over to you, Nosope.
all right, thank you so much for that question. In fact, I was just like, when are we going to get to the meat? When are we going to get to the meat? Because that's our major problem. That's our major challenge. Women are listening to friends, they are listening to family, they're listening to so many people who don't even know what it entails, who don't even know what it means, right? They are listening to them and they are taking decisions. And these decisions, in fact, some women are being saved quite all right, but it's cutting some women. In fact, it's doing a lot of damage and danger to some women. The decision is doing a lot of danger and harm to some women. So let me go to your first myth that before going there, uh, throughout last week on my LinkedIn profile, I shared a post on a tweet that someone brought out saying a woman that undergoes cesarean section does not love his or her child, or they do not love their children like the person that goes for a vaginal delivery. And I'm like, what? Where's this mentality coming from? Right? I shared it on my LinkedIn page, and so many people, it got so many reactions, it got so many comments, and people were like, where is this person? Is this person on planet Earth? You understand? Number one, that's a very big myth that a person who delivers through cesarean section does not love his or her child like the person who delivers through vaginal delivery. Just tell me, what is the difference? There is pain in both. We both carried our baby for 9 months or even more. We are both going through method of delivery, just that our method is different. It's just like you want to go to a particular location, or let me say market. Let me use that for example. And you are following, there are two people that are going to that market and they are following different routes. And you are not telling me the person going through route A is not as strong as the person going through route B. Just tell me. That's a very wrong, what would I call it? Would I call it mentality, or would call it a myth or something? That's a very wrong perception, right? Both are method of delivery, both cesarean section and vaginal delivery. They are both method of delivery, right? So it's just the method that differs. We both carried our baby. We both felt the pain. We both felt back pain. We both vomited. We both had the signs and discomfort of pregnancy. It's just our method of delivery that differs. So why won't we love our child? Tell me, why would the person say that the person that goes through a vaginal delivery doesn't love the child just because the person went through a cesarean section? So that is a wrong myth. That is a wrong myth, a total wrong myth, right? And I don't want women to believe that. As much as you carry your baby, you go through cesarean section, you go through vaginal delivery, you are strong, you are a superwoman, and you are resilient. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Now, coming to the issue of pain, we both felt pain. Just like I was telling you at the beginning that you choose your pain. It's either you feel your pain before or you feel your pain after. So both, there are pain in both, right? A woman that is undergoing vaginal delivery, they would tell you it is not easy because the pain and everything is there, contractions and all that. But once the baby is out, the pain is subside a little, at least no more contraction. And the big belly that is strong and everything, the baby is out, she'll be able to rest and all that. That is your pain before. Now, the woman that undergoes cesarean section, she walks into the theater, they cut her open, she's not feeling pain. But after some days she start feeling that pain. In fact, I would say a woman that undergoes cesarean section, they have more pain than those that have vaginal delivery, because there is days of pain. They are going to go for changing, they are going to go for cleaning, they need to allow it to heal, they need to wait for some period of time before they resume sexual intercourse, they need to wait for some period of time before they can conceive again. Why a woman that has vaginal delivery, as early as 6 weeks, she can be having sex with her partner, right? So why would you tell me a woman that undergoes cesarean section doesn't feel pain? We both feel pain, both cesarean section or vaginal delivery. There is pain in both. So that myth of saying that a woman that goes through a particular method does not feel pain is a very wrong myth. In fact, I don't know where that myth is coming from. So we need to dissuade our women that it's a very wrong myth, right? It's a very wrong myth. Now, going to your next one, that the women who go through cesarean section cannot breastfeed their infant. Who said so? There is no research that says they can't breastfeed their babies. There is no practical, there is no theory, there is nothing that said they can't breastfeed their baby. In fact, as early as the third day of delivery, they can start putting their babies to breast. The only thing is in fact, I personally, on my community of more than 700 women, I've taught women on breastfeeding positions. Like women who go through cesarean section, there are ways they can breastfeed their baby that is a bit different from women that undergo a vaginal delivery. Women that undergo vaginal delivery, they don't have pain in their stomach at all, right? They can easily carry their baby on the chest and they start feeding the baby. But women who undergo cesarean section, they cut you open, the place is still tender, the pain is still there. So we teach you some methods of breastfeeding. Let me say about two methods of breastfeeding. Number one method, we can tell you to do a football method. We call it a football method. The woman will bring her baby head to the front. I'm describing it using me. The woman will bring her baby head to the front. The leg of the baby, the chest of the baby will lean towards the back, like towards the waist. Let me use my phone for example. If it's a woman for vaginal delivery, she easily carries her baby like this and breastfeed her baby, right? Now a woman for cesarean section, she goes this way. The head of the baby comes like this. We call it football method. The head of the baby comes like this, and the leg and the other part of the baby goes outside. Then she will hold her baby tightly and she can easily breastfeed her baby. Another method a woman that undergoes cesarean section can do is a side lining method. She will go on her side, she won't be putting the baby on her chest because of the pain of the stitches and all. So she will go on her side and breastfeed the baby. So she's putting either her left side or her right side, she's putting it down and she's able to breastfeed her baby. So there are so many different methods that a woman who undergo a cesarean section can undergo to breastfeed their baby, and that will not stop her from breastfeeding the baby. So it's a wrong myth to say that women that undergo cesarean section cannot breastfeed their baby. Why? As far as they get pregnant, the breast milk is coming out. So what is stopping them from not breastfeeding their baby? So it is a wrong myth to say that a woman that undergo cesarean section cannot breastfeed their baby. In fact, I teach my women, my community women, and those that are viewing us, that are learning from natal care, we teach them every day. I ask them, those that undergo cesarean section, I tell them to message me. Sometimes I go to the group, mothers, how are you doing? Are you breastfeeding your baby? Is there a particular question you need to ask? Are you finding it difficult to breastfeed your baby? Do you need more explanation from me on how to breastfeed your baby as a newly delivered mother, most especially the women that deliver through cesarean section? And I've taken the sessions on my community over and over again, that even when women in my community, when they close their eyes and they bring them out, they can easily lecture a lay person on how to breastfeed a baby as a woman that undergoes cesarean section. In fact, I had a pictorial representation. I brought in images on how they can easily breastfeed those babies after they undergo cesarean section. So it is a completely wrong myth to say that
Misconception.
a woman that undergoes cesarean section cannot breastfeed their baby, right?
No,
So, which
so
other question have I
No,
answered?
so thank you very much for this, because you don't know how many mothers, how many newborns, have
Yeah,
lost their lives just because of these myths and these misconceptions about a particular method that could potentially save their lives. Just
yeah.
last 2 months, a doctor was telling me, that this mother and the child died at the hospital because the husband refused to sign the consent form. And this will lead me to this particular question. How
All
can
right.
women be able to take more informed decisions about their own self? What factors do we need to address? You know, do we need to have laws in place that will give women the opportunity and the sovereignty to make decisions on their body, on their pregnancy, on their health when there is a risk to their lives and that of the baby? That is number one. Because of our time, I will have the second question together so you can address them both. The
All
second
right.
question I will ask you is that what can we do differently that would help mothers, that will help us save the lives of more mothers and more newborns? How can we speak to the communities, to the fathers, to the grandmothers, to the grandfathers to help us keep our mothers safe, to help us protect our mothers, to help us save the lives of more newborns from maternal and infant mortality? Thank you, Nosope. In 5 minutes,
Yeah.
let's quickly address this.
All right. Thank you so much for that question, because it's a very important one. Now, uh, as soon as a woman conceives, knowledge is power, information is power. She needs to start seeking information. Now, I'm not talking of seeking information from Google. In fact, I used to tell my community women, I said, Google is not your friend most times. Because when you take a particular symptom to Google, Google will give you a different thing. Although, yes, Google will tell you that this is what is happening, but to give you a different thing that will scare you. So Google might not be your best friend when you're trying to get some facts and some real information on how to go about your pregnancy and your delivery. So as soon as a woman conceives, we tell women, try to get information through antenatal sessions. Try to get information through what we are doing now. We're running webinars so that women can learn. Women can dissuade this myth. Women can show these kind of videos to their husband and say, oh, you that don't want to do cesarean section, or you are being skeptical about it, can you hear what this professional is saying? Or can you hear what this professional said? So through webinars, through sessions, through groups, like I have a brand currently running on natal care, and I educate women day in, day out about their pregnancy, about delivery, about their child, and about sexual health. So if women are able to get in contact with groups like natal care or other groups like that, they can easily get information. aside from getting information from the antenatal clinic. It's just that it's so sad these days that most antenatal clinics don't give women the adequate information. They just come, oh, clap your hands, we do exercise, we dance, they give you antenatal drugs, and you go home. They don't give them the right information that they need. They don't give them the adequate knowledge. Oh, this is what you are supposed to do. If you're having this, if you're having that, this is what you might likely end up with. You might likely end up with cesarean section. You might likely do this, you might likely do that. They don't tell these women that. They just give them the antenatal drugs, they dance, they do exercise, and off they go. They go home. So those things allow these women not to get the right information. Rather, they keep learning from people that are not even aware, or they keep learning from people that will not tell them the truth and the real facts about the way it is. So we need to double our effort as nurses. It starts from clinics. As soon as women get pregnant, from clinics, we have to start educating them about the real matter. Not just stand up, let's do exercise. We need to structure topics out to teach women on mothercraft. You teach them neonatal jaundice, you teach them pregnancy-induced hypertension, you teach them preeclampsia, you teach them eclampsia, you teach them so many things. You teach them Caesarian section. You pick key informations, key knowledge that they need to know, and you start teaching them on. Right? So that boils down to every hospital, every nurses, every healthcare givers to start giving these women the right information when they come to antenatal. Now, another one is we need to build more brands in nursing, in midwifery, in public health, in what would I call it again? We need to build more brands in the sense that if you build more brands, we'll be able to reach out to more women, probably on social media, when we go out for community outreach, when we go out for voluntary services, we're able to reach out to these women and educate them on what they need to know. So if there are no brands, if you are not a brand that is coming on this space to meet me as a brand and we collaborate together to do this kind of session, just tell me, how are women going to get the right information? Going to the clinic always or going to the clinic only cannot solve the problem, because there are some women that can't even afford to go to the clinic. There are some women that can't even afford to be on the internet. There are some women in the rural community that don't have access to so many things. So if we have so many brands, if we have more nurses brands, more doctors brands, more public health brands that are teaching women this kind of information, it will really go a long way in solving this problem. It will really go a long way in putting out the right information, the right knowledge, and the right, what would I call it? The right, the necessary facts and knowledge these women need to know. So we need to build more brands to reach out to women. We need to double our effort as nurses, as midwives, as public health advocates, as everything in healthcare, in order to reach out to these women that this is the truth, this is the fact, and this is the right knowledge. So I think that is what we can do. Those are the ways we can go through these things for you to reach out to so many people. Then with your second question, yeah.
Okay.
You said, how do we differentiate between what?
Please go on. Please go on.
Okay, you say, how do we different? Okay, what do we do differently? What do we do differently, right?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, just like I said some minutes ago, that what we can do differently is we need to reach out to more people. We need to bring more men. In fact, I used to emphasize it's very, very important. Men involvement in maternal care is very, very important. There is no way we can do it without
I
them.
agree with you, Nosope. I agree
We can't do
with you.
without them. We can't do without them. We have to incorporate them, because I've seen cases where women are supposed to go in for cesarean section and their husband will be like, no, my mother did not deliver me through cesarean section. You are not going to bring out my baby through cesarean section. And when I listen to that, I'm like, where is this coming from? Do you get it? I'll be like, where is this coming from? Well, we can't blame those kind of men because they don't have the adequate information. So male involvement is very important. We have to inform them. When women are coming for antenatal sessions, encourage them. Bring your partner along. We have a gift for them.
Yeah.
Encourage them. Bring your spouses along. They are dear to us. They are our great visitors. We need them. We need to talk to them so that they can support you. So that if you can make certain decisions, they can make certain wise decision on your behalf, not unwise decision on your behalf. I've seen cases in the hospital where a woman was angry. She was supposed to go in for Caesarian section. The husband said, I'm not going to sign a consent form. This woman, she signed a consent form by herself. She said, you're not going to allow me to lose my baby and the effort I've put into this pregnancy. I am going to sign this consent and I'm going to go in there to undergo a CS. And the man was cold. So in order to avoid this kind of disagreements or fights in places or time where we're supposed to take action, it's better we involve these men. So way forward, we have to involve men in maternal care. Very, very important. There is no way we can do about them. We can do without them. We have to involve them. Tell women, when you get home, tell your husband what we discussed today. In our next session, please invite your husband. We would love to see them. Fix antenatal session on days that will be convenient for both of the partners. Fix it on Saturday. Don't fix it on days that husband will go to work. Fix it on Saturday, days that a time that will be flexible for them. Okay, let's fix your antenatal session within 10 to 12, within 11 to 1, within so time. Your husband will be around at this point so that he can come, he can listen. These men, when they listen from professionals, they tend to follow more than when they listen from their partner, right? So once we see it like that, we like to invite them. We like to talk to them ourselves. And before you know, they will listen and they will cooperate well. So way forward, we have to involve men. One, we have to reach out to more people. Like I said, I usually say it in communities. There's so many people that don't have the luxury of internet. There are people that don't have the luxury of data. There are people that don't have the luxury of going online to check it on YouTube or to check it through webinars, to check it in WhatsApp platforms. There are people that we need to go to them by ourselves. So how do we do this? We have to build more brands to reach out to them. When you are doing voluntary services, when you are doing what's it called? When you're working with NGOs that will sponsor you, or that you will do it with your own money, with your own self, to reach out to these women so that they will be involved. They will learn these things. They will have the knowledge. Because in the scripture, it says, my people die because of what? Lack of knowledge. My people die because
Lack
of
of
lack of knowledge.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these women, we need
Because
to
of
reach
lack
out.
of knowledge.
If you don't reach out to them, change their mentality, tell them the facts, tell them what it is, then we'll still have statistics going on every day and every year of maternal morbidity and mortality rates. In fact, it will keep skyrocketing. So these things are things we have to put
Keeps
in.
carrying.
We have to reach out to them. We have to build more brands. The nurses have to double their effort. Doctors, everybody has to put in. So when it comes to maternal mortality and morbidity, when it comes to reducing maternal mortality and morbidity, it's not a one person, right? It's
Yeah.
a joint effort. It's a joint effort.
Yes.
Everybody have to be involved. Just like when we were talking of family plan, that everybody have to be involved. When it comes to this
Involved.
also, everybody needs to be involved. But in
Involved.
fact, both our religious leaders, they have to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people
Yes,
listen
I
more
do.
to their religious leaders,
Yeah,
their
religious leader.
pastors, their imams, their religious leaders. They listen to them more. Once the religious leader tell them, "Oh, don't go for cesarean section," they say, "Women do this, women do that."
Oh,
So women,
I,
"Oh, this is my faith. This is my father. This is my this. Is a respected member, and I won't go for cesarean section." At the end of the day, if something happened, the father will tell you or the imam will tell you, "I didn't know it was like this, or I didn't have the right information and knowledge. I didn't know, stuff like that." So we need to reach out to religious leaders. We need to keep them informed. They need to listen to webinars. They need to make research. We need to tell them so that they can tell their people that going through Caesarian section is not a death warrant and is not a death wish, right? So those are the things we need to put into consideration. We want to have a way forward in women, in men, in the community accepting Caesarian section with their full chest, with their full chest. Not that they will be doubting or they will be saying, my friend did not do it. Do you think I should do it? Or my neighbor did not do it. Do you think I should do it? Do you think I'll be strong? Do you think I'll be this? Do you think I'll be that? They will be able to accept Caesarean section with their full chest. In as much that there's a reason for it, that oh, your baby is this, oh, you are this, oh, you are not fit to go through this, you are not fit to go through that. We believe Caesarean section will be the best option for you. So
No,
that's
this
yeah.
session today has been a double decker. Do you know what a double decker is like? It's been fully planned. Like, we need to get these messages out to mothers, to the communities. I'm so glad when you mentioned religious leaders, because in a country like ours, they play a huge role, particularly
Exactly.
in putting out information to the populace. They play a huge role. I am very excited that you mentioned the importance of getting this information also to religious leaders. If I tell you what I have heard some religious leaders say about maternal health, you would be amazed. So I think a lot of effort, as you have mentioned, needs to come into play. We need to map out strategic actions, frameworks, directed at this set of people to be able to ensure that we're able to reduce maternal and newborn mortality to the barest minimum by 2030. No, Sope, it's been an amazing time having you today. I want you to check out, checking out this webinar with just one last word in our indigenous language. I want you to say your mind in our indigenous language to the public, particularly
indigenous language.
Directing it to the more pregnant women themselves, directing it to the entire community, directing it to every sector that come together to make that can make maternal mortality reduce to the barest minimum in Nigeria and even across the globe. Thank you. In 1 minute, Nosope.
All right. Àtúntìdé o. Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa, ẹ̀yin ẹ̀gbọ́n wa, ẹ̀yin uncle wa, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, ẹ̀yin shamani alàgbà wa, maybe the pastors and the imams and all that. Àtúntìdé. A wá sọ fún yín pé ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ bá wa sọ fún àwọn obìnrin yìí, ẹ bá wa encourage wọn on the importance of Caesarean section. Ẹ má dissuade wọn láti lọ fún Caesarean section. Just like I said, Caesarean section kì í ṣe death warrant. Kì í ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ pé wọ́n máa sọ pé statistics ti show wa pé àwọn èèyàn ń kú ńbẹ̀. Just like báwọn èèyàn ṣe ń kú ní Caesarean section, làwọn obìnrin míì náà ń kú nínú vaginal delivery. So tá a bá ti rí reason láti save ọmọ, láti save ìyá, kí ló dé tá a ní lè lọ fún un? Rather than ká fi àwọn obìnrin wa sínú ìnira, àbí ká fi àwọn obìnrin wa sínú wàhálà, kán máa jẹ̀rora ìbímọ, kán máa ṣe wàhálà, kán máa ṣe ìdààmú nítorí pé wọ́n fẹ́ bímọ. So ẹ̀yin pastors, ẹ̀yin imams, ẹ̀yin alàgbà nílùú, ẹ̀yin alàgbà nílé, ẹ̀yin bàbá, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, ẹ̀yin àǹtí wa, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá wa encourage àwọn obìnrin. Tí dókítà bá ti sọ fún wọn wípé ọ̀rọ̀ yín o, nǹkan tẹ́ máa fi gbé ọmọ ìjáde Caesarean section ló kù, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bá wa dissuade wọn, ẹ má bá wa sọ fún wọn pé wọn ò lè ṣe, ẹ bá wa encourage wọn, ẹ bá wa fi àdúrà tì wọ́n, ẹ fi àdúrà tì àwọn tó ń ṣe iṣẹ́ abẹ náà, ẹ fi àdúrà tì àwọn tó máa gba ọmọ náà, ẹ fi àdúrà tì obìnrin náà fúnra ẹ̀ wípé they will go in well and they will come out well. Ẹ má bá wa discourage wọn, nítorí pé àlàáfíà tá a fẹ́ fún ìyá, òun náà la fẹ́ fún ọmọ. Tá a bá rí ìyá tí a bá wà alive, tọmọ náà bá wà alive, ó ní ìdùnnú àwa healthcare workers, ó ní ìdùnnú bàbá, ó ní ìdùnnú ìyá, ó ní ìdùnnú gbogbo community pátápátá, because kò sí anybody tó máa fẹ́ gbọ́ pé obìnrin yìí ó yẹ kán ṣe CS fún, àmọ́ torí pé bàbá ẹ̀ ò gbà, torí pé ìyá ẹ̀ ò gbà, torí pé anybody ò gbà, ó wá lọ bímọ fúnra. At the end of the day, ó lose ọmọ yẹn àbí ó lose ìyá yẹn. A kì í fẹ́ gbọ́ àwọn ìró ìbànújẹ́ yẹn, rather a fẹ́ gbọ́ àwọn ìró ìdùnnú gidi. So ẹ bá wa encourage àwọn obìnrin wa tó bá ti sọ fún wọn yín pé Caesarian section ló náà fẹ́ fi gbé ọmọ wọn jáde, ẹ bá wa fọwọ́ sí i, ẹ bá wa support wọn, kẹ́ ẹ fàdúrà tì wọ́n, kẹ́ ẹ fi ọ̀rọ̀ tútù kẹ́ ẹ fi tù wọ́n. Kódà kóbìnrin yẹn kó má fẹ́ gbà, ẹ fi ọ̀rọ̀ tútù tù wọ́n, kẹ́ ẹ fàdúrà tì wọ́n, kẹ́ ẹ sọ fún wọn pé everything will be all right. The most important is the health of the baby, the health of the mother, and the health of the community at large, and àti reduce maternal mortality. Tá a bá lè ṣe yẹn, at least àwọn obìnrin wa wọn ò ní máa kú, àwọn ọmọ wa wọn ò ní máa kú, and with that statistics wa máa reduce nínú maternal mortality and morbidity. Ṣé mo ti wí dáadáa?
Mo sọ pé mo pa àtẹ́wọ́ tó pọ̀ fún yín kí n sọ ní Yorùbá. Thank you very much for, this detailed information on Caesarian session. This video, I'm very certain will go far and wide. We'll speak to a lot of mothers, a lot of fathers, a lot of religious leaders, and they will also help us to propagate this information and spread it across the globe so that we can continue to protect more mothers, make sure more of our mothers keep alive, more of our babies keep alive, and we are able to reduce maternal mortality to the barest minimum. I'm just trying to imagine a woman that carried a baby for 9 months, and then at the end of the old day, she loses her life, or maybe lose the baby just because of a preventable cause. It should not happen.
In fact, pregnancy itself is not a walk in the park. Pregnancy is a stressful journey. So when you get to that point where you're supposed to feel relieved, when you're supposed to have that joy of your baby that you've been carrying for the past 9 months, in fact, it's even more than 9 months. Yes. Because in medical profession, in midwifery, we don't count with months, we count in weeks. Now, if a woman is in her 40th week or 41 weeks, by the time you calculate it, it will enter 10 months. So it's not easy for a woman to carry a baby, like a full baby in her stomach for that long. And it's just for her to have this peace, this rest of mind, this joy and happiness of receiving her baby. And you are telling her that she shouldn't go through a particular method, she should go through a particular method just because of what you've heard or you don't have a full information and knowledge about. So we don't want that to happen.
Thank you again, Nurse Kauthar, for coming to this webinar. I am so bringing you again very soon. Because you know what? We have to continue to contribute our quota to the society.
Yeah,
exactly. When everybody contributes their quota, as you have mentioned, that everybody needs to put in all effort from all sectors to ensure that we have a society that is balanced, a society that is livable, a society that is unique, and can sustain by itself. Thank you again, Nurse Opeyemi, for coming to today's webinar on the Protect Mom and Child Forum. I'm so glad, and I thank you so much.
Please pass this on to your women. If there's any pregnant woman, if there's a mother who wishes to reach out to me or they wish to join my community, it's absolutely free. You can always come. We usually have 2 weekly sessions every 2 weeks. We have sessions relating pregnancy, relating childbirth, relating childcare. In fact, I'll be so happy to have them on board. So if you have any woman, if there's any woman, any mother who wishes to join our community, please, I will share the link with you. You can attach it. You can always come directly with me, have a one-on-one session with me, have a one-on-one consultation with me, ask your questions, and that's the joy of it, so that our women will be fine. They will have the right knowledge, they will have adequate information, and we will as well reduce maternal mortality and morbidity rates.